Hey guys, Kevin here, the Patriot Punk, and today I want to talk about some stories that came out this week about how our First Amendment rights are under attack, especially on university campuses. Now, to me, the left treat our First Amendment just like they treat our Second Amendment. They say that, we don't want to ban free speech, we just want to have common sense speech control. Or, look, you can have free expression, but you have to have it over there because this is a speech-free zone. So, to me, it's no surprise that the left are calling for a ban or repeal of the Second Amendment right now, and it won't surprise me if later on we see them calling for a repeal of the First Amendment too. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think. I think that they see our free speech as a weapon, just like they see guns as a weapon that can oppose them, and it does. Our free speech destroys them. So, yeah, of course they want to ban it. But let me know what you guys think. Let's look at these articles, and it's going to shock you guys. So our first story comes from Campus Reform, and as you can see here, it is about a University of Texas student named Connor Clegg, and Connor Clegg happens to be the university's student body president. Well, right now, he is facing impeachment proceedings for voicing an opinion, and his opinion was that a certain newspaper should be defunded. I'm sure you guys remember the stories a while back about a University of Texas newspaper that printed a bunch of racist articles, including one that said white DNA is an abomination. Well, Mr. Clegg, who's not by any means far right, voiced that this racist newspaper should not be receiving funds from the university to push propaganda. And so, because of that, his peers, they didn't have a problem with it. Who went after him? The professors did. The very people who are there supposed to be educating him and protecting him, these professors went after him and demanded that he be removed from the student body. Now, Mr. Clegg underwent impeachment proceedings, but they did not go in the favor of these leftists. So in typical leftist fashion, they are now calling on the administration to remove Clegg because we know that the left, every time they don't get their way judicially, they want to go extrajudicially to get their way. They don't care what it takes, right? They say they love democracy, but when democracy fails them, they have no problem resorting to authoritarianism. Anyway, this article just shows you guys a little taste of what we're dealing with now from these professors, right? These are the people who are supposed to be educating and protecting people. Instead, they are attacking students. And that leads us to my next article. So this next article comes from College Fix, and it really exemplifies what I'm talking about here. It's titled, Student Faces Punishment for Posting Copies of a Professor's Email Calling Conservative Students Evil. And it's about a student named Zach Butler who is being investigated not only criminally, but academically for posting an email, a public email from a professor who called conservative students evil. And this was all about a rally that was going to be held for free speech. And in this email, this professor says that she cannot work with conservative students. She names one particular, Antonio, and she says that if we don't have a response, like a bunch of people out there protesting to this conference, then the faculty has failed, right? And so she's saying that they need to have students out there protesting these conservative students, who then she goes on to call evil. Now, look. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, right? These professors have been tasked with protecting students, and instead they are attacking students who disagree with them. And on top of that, they are using young, naive kids who do agree with them or who they have brainwashed. They're using them as little puppets to go out and attack conservative students. So they are sowing division on these campuses. And they do it along racial lines, they do it along gender lines, and it is despicable. It's the same exact thing the left did back in the 1960s when they were the party of the KKK. They just took that white identity politics and flipped it on its head. And flipped it around again to do gender identity politics. So as bad as these students are being treated by the left-wing professors and now the left-wing administrators, professors who express right-wing beliefs are treated much worse. Not only can it cost them their job, but in the case of this next article, it can cost them their whole reputation. For example, here we have an article about a university professor, and it says university fired conservative professor for blogging. Now it's denouncing him in Google ads. And this professor is not from a public university. This professor is from Marquette University in Wisconsin. And this is supposed to be a Christian school. But like I said, the left, they entered these schools with the intent of destroying these institutions from the inside. And they really had a hatred for Christian and private schools. So they went to those schools as well. Now, look, this might sound a little extreme, but I know college professors who have right-wing viewpoints, and they have to walk around on eggshells. This is not the extreme example. This is actually, as extreme as it sounds, pretty much the standard now for right-wing college professors. They either are censored, or terminated with extreme prejudice. And this particular professor, he was fired for saying that a student who was against gay marriage should be protected, right? Should have been protected. So, because he voiced that opinion, they fired him, and now they are taking out advertisements on Google, so when you search his name, the university gets to have their opinion on the top of that search. So they can make the narrative around this professor, so they can destroy his reputation. And this is despicable, guys. This kind of behavior, it's childish, it's vindictive, and it just shows the kind of people we're dealing with who have entered these institutions for the very purpose of trying to purge out these kind of professors. And it's just out of control. All right, so right now we've seen them attack students who are conservative for being conservative, attack conservative students for expressing their beliefs, attack conservative students for pointing out that they're attacking conservative students, and attack professors who aren't necessarily conservative because they defended conservative students. So where's this all headed, right? Well, I think this next article gives you a good idea of the level they are going to go to shut down people, to silence people. And it does not have to be just conservatives. This comes from collegeinsanity.com, and it says, Libtard Parade. I love that, that title there. College debate tournament bans men because they might win. Let that sink in. They want to ban men from a debate because men might win. Now, isn't that the point of a debate, to win, to have the best arguments? Let's go on, because this is really a hoot. A debate tournament that recently took place in the extremely left-leaning University of Vermont decided to prohibit all men from participating in order to shield women and other, quote, gender minorities from having face-to-face competitive sexism in the form of skilled male debate. That's right, skilled male debate is now sexist. According to reports, it says here, they excluded men from participating because guys are apparently more apt to win arguments using reason and rational thought, and they're thus a threat to female sex, which on average cannot perform at the same competitive level. So if we were saying this, they would call that sexism. But they can say that women aren't as good at debating as men and get away with it, right? But the hypocrisy is even worse here, because it says, because women already have to be that much better than men to overcome bias on the part of many judges. So they're saying that women have to be better than men to overcome bias, but then they're banning men because men are better than women. So which is it, right? Are men better debaters, or are women better than men to overcome bias? Now, the group claims statistics that show women to be less likely to reach the top echelons of the activity, which in this case is debate, and the presence of men is oppressive to their potential achievement. As a result, men need to be barred, the group insists, from what has traditionally been one of the only co-ed intercollegiate competitive activities. There is also a lot of sexual predation that happens in the debate community. Oh God, so they're saying here that they're justified because all those debaters are such sexual predators, right? We're all just out there at the debates like, hey girls, what's up? After this, you want to go home with me? I can convince you to, because I'm a better debater. Right? No debate needed here. I have the biggest schlong. That's what they're saying. Okay, yeah, right. That doesn't happen. Most of these debate nerds wouldn't know what to do with a pussy if it sat on their face. Guys, alright guys, so as bad as all this sounds, it's just a snippet of what I found just from this week about attacks on conservative students, attacks on freedom of speech and freedom of expression. But this next story, this final story, it's about the attack on freedom of association. And that's a lot darker, if you ask me. And that's why this story garnered so much attention. Now, this comes from Campus Reform, and it says, Sparks University to host No Whites Allowed pool party. And guys, this is the Democratic Party, the left wing in America, going full circle back to the 1960s, back to their days of being the party of the KKK, and using the same kind of identity politics and division. This is hosted by a group called Café con Leche, which means coffee with cream in Spanish. It is a self-identified Latinx advocacy group, whatever that means. And this story should trouble everyone because this is not progress, right? The left call themselves progressives. This is regression. And the fact is that this bothers me specifically because my kids are half Hispanic. And it makes me wonder, right? They're saying that no whites are allowed. This argument you hear from the left when they debate people like Richard Spencer, they always say, well, how are you going to define who's white? Well, that's such hypocrisy because they are trying to define who's not white here. And look, my kids, I hope they would never associate with people like this. I hope they hang out with people based on merit and them being good characters. But let's say for some absurd reason they want to go to this party. Well, this group, they thought about this kind of situation. They went into people's Facebooks, people who said they were going, and investigated them to see if they were people of color or not. And that is something that should really terrify people, right? This is no different from what Hitler did in Germany, trying to define who was Jewish and who was black. You know, this one drop rule, I guess it applies for white people now, right? If you have one drop, you're white. And so, look, guys, the fact is that attacking freedom of speech, it's horrible. Attacking freedom of expression is horrible. But when you attack freedom of association, that is that final divide, right? The final divide that sends us down a road to complete anarchy, to complete chaos. Because how can we ever heal ourselves as a country when we're being divided along those lines? It's impossible. And that's something that should worry all of us. Anyway, okay, guys, so I hope you liked this video. I want to do something different. Follow me on my YouTube channels at The Patriot Punk on YouTube and at InfoWars Stop the Purge on YouTube. I don't plug everything like I should. I never post the descriptions or links below. And I know a lot of people do that, and I always hear I should do that. But you know what? I was never doing this to grow a brand. I do it to get these points out there, especially right now when we're being censored. Now, I don't have anything against people who do that, but I just care more about shooting these videos and then going to do other things, you know? So I get lazy sometimes, but I hope you follow me anyway. I hope you like this content. If not, let me know. Tell me what I should do. Screw that. I'll voice my opinion on anything, and I'll present facts and good rebuttals to anything that you guys suggest. So anyway, I'll see you guys later. I'm out.